So I'm going to try to take this through you all, this data as much as I can. I want to reassure you that I'm an email away if we need to do some individual kind of going on back and forth. I'm happy to do that. But let me tell you a little bit of why you're here and what happened. This is the first time you all are entering into the data system. There will be a recording. I apologize for this slide. I was meant to change it, but the best way, and I will send this out as a link, if you go under here on our what we offer employment, you will see this and we will have the recording here. I will also make sure that the link is sent out to everyone so that you could see that as well. So I have the slides. You all should have already received the personal book, but I'm going to show you how to get that as well in the web-based data system. I'm going to ask you all if you would be so kind to put yourselves on mute because we hear the background noises or when conversations happen. So here's the link. I'm going to go through the slides that are part of the data system. And then I'm going to go live with you in the data system so you could see what it looks like. From my understanding, and if someone says no to me, please let me know. You all are responsible for providing day habilitation services. And that is why the list from Shelley was sent out and that you received it. And this past week, we did some manager verification. If you provide other services, but we're looking for employment and day services, and this was a group we had not had data from, and the Division of Disability and Rehabilitative Services had said, we need all the data. So this is the first year, so we're gonna all muddle through it together. Please don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. That's all I'm going to keep telling you. We're going to figure this out. So what we're going to get is I'm going to talk a little bit about the DESOS managers and how we do that. It's of total security reasons. We did some revisions to the data. I'll tell you a little bit about that. And then a little bit about questions. Can I ask you all again to please put yourselves on mute if you're having conversations, because we could hear everyone. Okay. So again, you could stop me. I'll try to go slow and ask the questions because I know this is the first time for you all. So what happens with this data? The report has been, we've been doing this for probably about 15 years and it continues to evolve. We send this to the division. It really is the one who has asked us to do this. They get the report and each of the bureaus get the report. Then DERS in this past year started using it as a benchmarks for providers who are providing competitive integrated employment and to align with this HCBC setting rule. So they're now using this data as the benchmark data. So that's why it's so important we get all the data and all the providers. Everyone's going to get the report, and then soon you'll be able to pull up your own report. The Indiana Association of Rehab Facilities, the ARC of Indiana has it. We post it on our website. And we make sure that we get it to everyone, including the DERS advisory will go over it, as well as the Governor's Planning Council.
Okay.
So with that said, here's what happens. And some of you have already received this. Depending on the size of the organization, for security purposes, the CEO receives an email to verify what we call the DESOS manager. Now, it's really the liaison with us, but you are the manager for your agency. And with that, you will be able to set appropriate permissions to allow other people to do data editing, data entry, to editing the existing data, and or for reporting options. Once you have it, you will get a temporary password, and then you will be able to change your password to something that you remember. We use emails as usernames because when people leave your organizations and they've been collecting data, we know then they aren't able to enter into this. And then you will be prompted for a permanent password. So far, so good. So really what the DESOS manager is that representative from your organization that will set the appropriate permissions and will decide who's allowed to enter data into the system. So the due date is July 28th. For many of you, I think you'll be able to zip through this pretty easily. The hardest part is once the data is in every year, it's so easy to update. I mean, I have providers who have 600-800 people, and they're able to zip through it once the people are in the system. And I'm going to take you through that. So there's been a couple updates here. And this is going to be new to you, but for future reference, the survey and the instructions are in the home page. So even though they were sent to you, the instructions, you could also find them in the system. Once you start entering the data, you'll be able to sort the roster list by the name or primary environment. And I'm going to show you this so that you'll know who you've entered by the people you have. What comes up is the last reporting system period. And so right now, for those of you who have never entered, won't have anyone in there. But once you start entering the following year, you'll be able to see who's in there and determine if you need to update them or not. There's logic to the questions, so they're grayed out to not to allow you to answer. So for the majority of you who just provide day have, the number of questions are minimal compared to some of the others. And again, I will show you. And we are also working on individual agency reports that I thought would be live by now, but I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks. So you'll have all your data as well. And when the statewide report comes out, you will be able to compare it to the statewide, and eventually we're also doing some regional pieces as well. So this is the entrance, and I'm going to go live in all this in a minute so you can see. This is the data entry. This will change. The July date will be changing. Once you get in there, you enter your email and your password. You'll go in, and this is where you can find the instructions or the actual, for whatever reason, if you would want a hard copy of the survey. And then any questions you have, I monitor this every day. And you also have my other email that you can just send me and ask the question, ask for help. If we need to do individual meetings, we will do that. This is the second page, so where you find the survey, where you find the instructions. And then the roster list for you all will be the new piece that you will find you will need. So this is how this works. You could follow along with the slides that are already in the chat room, or when you later on. So at the very, someone asked, can you share the link for the PowerPoint? It's at the very top of the chat room, right after I put welcome. It's a PDF and you can just download it.
Okay.
Got it? Okay. So here's what you're seeing from our test piece. So you will see a new outcome for 6/23, and that's the month we're doing. What this data is a snapshot in time of in this month or so that you are adding the data, you know, who are you serving and what are they doing? So you could see that if I had my roster list came up, this tells me I have to update their data that's in there, or I have to edit. I've already done that, and in case I need to go back and edit, I could do that. And then for a new record or outcome, this is where you click. Okay. Sherry, if you can go just scroll to the very top of the chat and see if you and does everyone see this data entry PDF slides 2023? And you just click to open and you can download it. You don't see it, you want me to try again? All right, I'm going to give a moment. You don't see it. All right, let's see if I can try real quick again. I'm going to try to upload it right now and see if you could give me, I'm doing it right now from my computer. So, all right, I'm getting ready to send it now. Does everyone see it?
Nope.
Yes, I'm getting it. Yes. Okay. It says 2023 DESOS data entry PDF. Good. So if you go in that chat, yeah, great. So now as we come back to the data system in the next year or two, you may have someone that you're no longer providing services. So that's what you would click for them. Or if you want to see everyone from. Pardon me? What's that? I didn't hear the question. Okay, maybe no question. So when I said gray out, this is what it will look like. And for you all, you're going to have a lot less questions to answer. And I will take you through one or two so you could ask the questions a lot. So here are the primary environments. And the question is, where does someone spend the majority of their day? And that's the main question. And all the questions, the first 19 questions are related to that primary environment, depending on which one you check. So, and it's my assumption that if not all of you are providing day habilitation services, or maybe something in the alternative to employment. So those are the two that would be the most interesting interest. Unless you are providing employment services, we would want to know that. So here's how you find the data entries. Make sure there's an S after the HTTPS. So a couple things to remember before we really get into this. First is, it's the enter the people you're serving at the time of the data entry. This is a snapshot in time. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me try this again. It was somehow the wrong file came up, and I'm not sure why. No, that's the one. It says data entry 2023. Slideshow that you were showing. It's a list of companies. Okay, that doesn't make sense to me, because what I am showing here are my slides. So let's see here. That is odd, because when I open it, that's what I'm seeing are my slides. So as I'm working on that, the great questions. Our consumers attend another facility for day have. We provide DHI services. What is, tell me real quick, DHI? I'm blank on that, DHI.
Rehabilitation individual.
So it's one-on-one, but they go to day services for another facility. No, if they're going to another day services for day have, then that facility will do that. Day have, if you're providing it for one-on-one for individuals, then you would enter them. Do you all, I don't know if I upload the PowerPoint itself, what will happen, but I'm going to try it.
You email the PowerPoint?
Yes, I will email it. I'll just email it all out, the PowerPoint. That would be the easiest, and then I know. So let's just try that. Sorry, if I could do that. So that's a great question. So if somebody else is providing the day habilitation facility-based, if you can give me the provider, I would know it immediately. They go there for the day. And then you may have one or two people you're doing one-on-one with, then you would provide them, you would enter that data. So think about the question, I came back to this one, where do they spend the majority of their time? So when you look at a typical day, a typical week, where are the individuals? And if you say they go to the facility, then they would be entering that data or should be entering the data. But if you have some people that they're spending the day with you, and for some of you, it may be only one or two people, others it may be more, then you would then definitely enter the data. Does that make sense? That was a great question. Thank you. Once maybe in another year you're doing this and you see someone that you pull up, you click and you're no longer providing those services, you just click that piece. And then they won't come up the next year. Here's something that's important for some of you, especially the larger ones. The city is where the main day and or employment services are, where the like main office is. The county is where the services are provided. So we have folks that may have a main office in Indianapolis, but they're also providing services in other counties. That's what's important here. The other piece is when you see this I in the data system, it'll help provide the definition. Okay, I'm going to stop. These are great questions. We provide out-of-home respite PAC RHS hourly. We do not provide day have. We also have not listed on the provider list that is in place of the PowerPoint. Does this mean we are not to participate in DESOS? Yes, this is just for day have. This is just for people during the day. So PAC and RHA, no, those are totally different of what the state is trying to capture. Sherry, great question. Ours go to a day program through the day, and we do maybe 5 to 10 hours a month with community individual. Will we complete the data entry? Yes, and what you would put in is alternative to employment. And that's where we will see that data. Well, is it true, Valerie? That's a really interesting question. Is that through day have though? So if they're already going to a day program to a facility, then they should be captured in that facility. So if you're talking about doing this like on weekends in the evening, I'm going to get back to you, but my gut, I'm going to have to confer with Shelley, but I'm feeling like it's a no. So that's where I would leave you there. Any other questions? This is for those day services. But if someone's going to a facility during the day, then the facility should be capturing it. Are we good? These are good questions and hard. Okay, that Valerie, that explains it. Benchmarks has captured them. And in fact, I just was talking with them about their data. So if they've captured them during the day, then that would be the duplication piece. So no. I'm going to put that out as well, because that's a great question. If you have any troubleshooting, there's a slide just to say half the time it's about refreshing or clearing your browser or cache. Sometimes I have to shut down, come back in. When people do that, it seems to work as well. Got another question. Client lives at home with mom. Mom does RHS and then also records community hours for the grocery activities, or etc. Do we enter intro for them? Amber, yes, because if it's coming through you and under your, for lack of a better word right now, supervision, you're monitoring it all, then yes, I would say that. You would enter them. Guys keep asking good question. I like it. All right, let's get a little further. So I think I started showing this already. You've got a new record where many of you will be entering it. And once you do, if you want to see how many, then you go ahead and you look at that roster list. No, you don't. You only enter people who you are currently serving. So when we say this is a snapshot in time, it is about this, you could say June, July, who are you serving? And that's who you enter the data for. Nobody from the past. I hope that helps. So this will be in the beginning, the hardest part. And once it's in, all you're doing every year is updating it. So again, the client's last name, your program will come up automatically. Remember, the city is the city of where your main office is. It could be the same. And then the county is of services. So you may be in Indianapolis, but you may be providing services in Hendricks County. That's how that works. The reporting period will come up, and the client's date of birth, gender, race, and then if they're their own legal guardian, and then here is just NA, the individual still receiving services. And then if maybe a year from now you pull up someone's name and you're not serving them any longer, that's when you would click no longer receiving services. Primary, this is just demographics, primary and secondary disability, mobility, behavior issues that impact their daily lives. Is it mild, moderate, severe? And same with the behavior support. Do you have a one-on-one? Well, that's continuous. Or if it's just a behavior plan that you provide occasional support or you monitor or intermittent, that would be where you would click that, or none. We have many that is none. So here's what's important. So for questions of non-employment day programs, day habilitation services, you only answer questions 2, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 20, and if they're in a secondary environment. And I'm going to again show this to you. So what happens is you put non-employment day, question, then ask, where is it? Is it within a facility? Whoops, just went, oh, that went fast. I was pointing. And is it within an office, shopping area, strip mall, a standalone building, or other? So we're just trying to find out where is that day program that you're providing. The other one that you may end up choosing, you may have some individuals that are spending most of their time. You will have the drop down and it's questions, alternative to employment. Some folks are retired. Some people have a choice. They don't want to do anything during the day. There may be volunteering and you're helping. And then community access, looking for a job or other. Okay. So then I'm going to go through most, I'm just going to flip through. You could see them. I don't think any of you are providing employment services. Is anyone providing employment services? Can you just tell me and whether I need to skip through this or not?
I'm unable. This is incredibly frustrating.
Okay, we're going to go through this. I'm sorry. Okay, most of you don't. So I'm going to skip this part and I'm going to go to the live. Extended services, yes, but the employment provider is providing the main employment piece. Or if they're working, you would add this. You would add if they are working. So here are the questions. Most of this, a new employer in the last year, yes or no. Start date, sometimes you don't know that and it's non-applicable. Okay, through VR, then yes, you would be adding this. Where the paycheck is issued, who does the paycheck? If they lost the job, the reason, the type of work, again, very general. And then getting into the hours they're working, hourly earnings, and then non-paid hours that maybe they do other things. All of this is in those definitions. So for the extended services, why you would have, if you've got someone already working and you're providing the ongoing support, then you would be able to look at follow-ups, follow-along support as well, if and that extended services. So the day hab or job coaching, it is for the people who are working. Shelley gave me the list and said none of these people are providing employment services, and that's why I asked the question. So if you are, then you would enter the employment information. And then you would know, obviously, where people are living with, how they get around. And then if there is a secondary environment, and that means if they're in a day hab all day and they don't go anywhere else, then you would just click no. If maybe someone's in a day hab, but they may work a little bit, maybe 5, 10, 15 hours a week, then you would complete the first 4 questions here. No, so this isn't applicable if the client hasn't obtained or been placed on it at a job yet. No, you would put that alternative to employment and you could put looking for a job. That slide very early on of the primary environment. So does that help? So at that point, they're looking for the job, especially if they haven't been placed yet. That's alternative. And then you just submit the data and there it is. So I'm going to go live with this so you all can see that. Okay, you can see it. Keep asking some questions and it will be helpful. And then it's easier. I promise you, I'll be here. I'll help you all. I'll walk through whatever we need. Once you get, if you're looking at the directions, they take you slide by slide. I can't remember my password. So I'm going to do a roster list by a program. Now I have all the programs in here, so you won't have this. You're just going to have yours. So here I am. Let's say I have to have a new record. This is where you would click it. The directions take you by the slides and step by step. And here's where you enter the name. Again, because I have all of them in here and you won't have this, it's just going to pull up your information. And who am I? I should have been up there. Here it is. A county of service. Just making this up. Here's our recording. You put your month. It's like myself younger. Legal guardian, yes, no, partial. Not applicable because this is a brand new service. So you see how that works. I gotta make sure I get that's all I've got to have him. I just realized he didn't change the reporting. He closed this and didn't open this. I'm sorry, my IT guy, just because we just got downloading 85 providers entering into this. And when Shelley told us we weren't quite ready for it, let me pull in one that I've done so you can then see. So here is what it looks like here. The level, continuous, mild, you put these in. And then I'm going to put non-employment day within a facility of a sheltered workshop, whatever it is that where they provide those day services. And this is where you'll see it blacked out because you don't need to respond to these. And if you put, okay, let's say family referred them, an estimate there, we're just trying to get an idea what their benefits are. And then in the immediate environment where they're working in the day program, so maybe 6 or 15 or 1 to 5, number of people without disabilities is 1 to 5, including the paid staff, excluding the paid staff, including this person, how many people are around with disabilities, what's their social interaction, do they ever exchange or rarely? And then here is where they live and how they get around. Obviously, I was just playing with this. And then, no, they don't have a secondary environment, and you submit the information. You click yes, and then you respond to the remainder of where are they spending that secondary environment. My assumption, and I may be wrong here, but my assumption is for many of your folks, if their primary environment is day services, they may have a job, but most of them would probably be no, unless maybe they're going into the sheltered workshop or the facility employment for 4 or 5 hours a week, or maybe they have a job, or maybe they are just volunteering. And so the question earlier about alternative to employment, if they're looking for a job, that is right here. When they don't have a job yet, there's a couple of you who said you do extended services or that they're not placed yet. This is where you could put that. They could be part of looking for the job, work-based learning, discovery. And then you just submit the information. And that is it. Questions? So day have, will there be guidelines provided to the outlines what data is applicable? Yeah, you were all sent instructions. Shelley sent out the instructions. they're also in inside the database are the instructions. So Dayhab individual, you used to like visit friends and families. I would put that as alternative to employment and community access. So you only have a few questions to answer there. And yes, the link is ready. I'm calling IT now to say they've got to change for new data entry piece of it. My apologies, but we've been moving pretty fast, as you all have as well, trying to shut down the 85 providers who've already entered and then clear them and be ready for this data entry. So I am hopeful for the end within the hour. Valerie, it's a great question again. Thank you. Yes, you complete this data that for those individuals that you are the primary provider for day programming, not the secondary. That's a great question. So again, as earlier, I forgot already, I got to go back and look, but someone said someone goes to Benchmarks to get their day services, then Benchmarks has already entered the data. So that is where, and if you were providing primarily individual Dayhab individual, then yes, you would do the alternative to employment. And I would think that, let me just pull this up real quick and show you. Alternative to employment, maybe it's community access. That's that visiting the friends, that is visiting other pieces, or maybe family going grocery shopping. I'm just learning to do things like that. That's what I call. And then your next question would be the government benefits, social interactions, and then living environments. And if there's not the secondary, that's it. So you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 questions. Individual, Adriana, let me make sure I'm going to get this right. Wait, let me go back. What if a client attends 2 programs, one on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the other on Tuesday, Thursday? Oh, that's a great question. So are you, Scott, responsible? Are you as the provider responsible for one of those day programs? And if you are, then you need to enter that data for that person who you provide the day program for.
So would both providers have, would both providers do an entry if he attends both providers?
Yes, or what you could do 2 things. We tend to, when we're cleaning the data, we scrub for the data like that of duplicates of names. That's why we ask for the birth date and that, because that helps us look at, oh, we have a duplicate. What is this? So you could ask the other provider who's doing 3 days a week to include you as the 2 days a week as, so if someone does 3, they could just keep them as one person and have a secondary environment of 2. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, and that would be a lot easier. If it's a issue right now, just shoot me an email. We'll figure it out. Because when I go in, I could look at the data that way as well, and try to figure that out.
Okay, thank you.
That's a good one. That question hasn't come up yet, but it's usually the main, where the individual spending the most of their time, that provider has been entering, and then adds the secondary environment. That's what I know is a lot around, like the providers who are doing employment and maybe facility-based or whatever that may be.
Yeah, he does facility-based, but he's with us Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and he goes to a completely different provider and does facility-based with them Tuesday, Thursday.
So I would have you enter them. And then just have him, and then just put the secondary environment as facility-based or whatever that may be, day services or work centers or whatever that may be. That's a good one.
Thank you.
I like these scenarios. It's sort of, I feel like stump the chump kind of a morning because they're hard. Individual works 30 hours plus in community employment. Our agency does not support this job, nor does she have support on this job. The individual has a few numbers of DHI. Do we report this just as alternative to employment? I would think that my hope is, and you may want to check, but my guess is the other provider is entering them on employment. And you just may want to confirm that. The important is to capture the data of that employment. That's an important thing for the state right now. So my assumption would be the people doing the community employment has entered that person, and you would be the secondary environment for that person. Does that make sense? And if not, I would agree with you. I would just go ahead and put alternative to employment. If you can't get, I would do that. And then when we scrub the data, I'll look for that as well. I'm trying to get to this next question here. It says, providers that do not have day services but have DHI as a service, since do we have to fill this out too? We do not have day service program, but what I would say is you have the DHI, and I think that is what Shelley is saying to me. I can go back and clarify, but I think she's wanting where I think it would be alternative to employment, and it would be community access or volunteer or choice or one of these here. So I agree, and I will confirm, but I think my understanding of what Shelley and some of the state folks were saying to me, they wanted to capture it all. So I would see the DHI. A lot of this would probably be alternative to employment and the retired choice, volunteer, community access. The one individual said about they're looking for the job but haven't found it yet. That fits in here. If they're with you doing the day program all day long, then you would put this one. Does that help? That was a great question. Audrey, you're man, you've got a tough one here. She does not have a provider on employment. Then I would have you enter that data, and I would put her in as her primary environment, the best you can, employment, and then the secondary. Because if they're working all day, that's where she's spending, or he has the majority of their time is working. Other questions? These are really good. What else? So give me, what I need to do is go back to our IT and say they got to go in the system and change that. And then I will get the slides out to you, although it's the same PDF, which is so bizarre that it's not coming up. And I'll get that out to you and then go from there. My guess, as you always, take a breather, take a look at the instructions, start it next week, unless I can get them to change as quickly. And I'll be here to walk through with you. If we need to do individual meetings, I'll do individual meetings with you. So don't sweat all of this. We will get it through. Other questions? I want to make sure while you're on and you guys are feeding off of each other, it's always helpful. Nothing else? You want 10 minutes back in your day? And I will, again, I'm going to hang up here and get a hold of our IT, ask them to change that date. be patient with us on our side too. They're all dancing pretty fast because this was a surprise for us at this point, so. Anything else? I'll support y'all. We'll get through this. With that, you all have a great holiday weekend, and a good weekend, and we will be in touch. You've got the email, DESOS. I'm going to put that right now. I'm going to do both, just in case, mine, and I think it was in Shelley's. I can't even spell Indiana. In her email. So either one, I monitor both. Sometimes with the DESOS, why I like it is we're able to monitor some of our glitches, or if people are having similar problems, we try to figure out what's happening. So feel free to contact me and we will go from there. We'll get through this, okay? And if people have some stumbling blocks, just let me know. You all have really good questions and they're making me think in a different way as well because we weren't used to it. So thank you. Okay, have a great weekend. And I'll stay.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks.